time is approximately forever.
Cannot afford to be so politically correct anymore. Americanism, not globalism, will be our credo.
Please continue to hold for the next available representative.
Americanism, not globalism, will be our credo.
We appreciate you waiting and waiting. What is it you're waiting for? Do you even know anymore?
These are people who work hard but no longer have a voice. I am your voice.
Disconnected.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new live stream on this channel. And it is my pleasure to announce that we are currently celebrating our 5-year channel anniversary. I've been doing this since February 6, 2019. When I put my first video out, it blew up, and now we have all of you guys here as a result of it. So happy anniversary, not just to me, but to all of you. Like this show, like the stream, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell if you're already subscribed. We have a lot to cover. We have a lot of great news on the way. Ronna McDaniel is done. She is no longer the chairwoman of the Republican Party. She is ousted for good. She is done. You do not have to worry about her anymore. I think that that's a greater congratulations than the 5-year anniversary here. But we also have the useless Nevada primary, and I call it useless because it doesn't matter. Donald Trump's not even on the ballot. We're watching to see if Nikki Haley can lose to the none of these candidates option. We're looking to see how bad and piss poor turnout for Joe Biden on the Democrat side can be. And we're going to be checking it throughout the stream for sure. And there's no question about it. But we do have a lot of other news that I want to get to. We'll also get to super chats. We have, I believe already we have a super chat from Johnny Heartdog saying a little off topic, but I think the Electoral College should also be done at the state level for House, Senate, and governor races. Each county gets a certain amount of electoral votes. That way the whole state is represented. Well, Mississippi has tried that. Doesn't exactly work. I think that you got to draw the line somewhere. I don't know where that line would be drawn. It's possible that you could try to institute something like that. But I think that there's a lot of other electoral reforms that could solve the same problems. Also, Horizons Bear says in my chunky yogurt voice, down goes McDaniel, down goes McDaniel, down goes Ronna McDaniel. Very true. Luke Aguilar says, happy 5 years rep in terms of the 6 battleground states, in terms of Trump's chances of winning them. How would you rank them? I did this in a YouTube short. By the way, Trump will be receiving my vote from California. Well, that's good, even though California wouldn't rank that high in the priority list. But I think that you would have to say Pennsylvania is the most important. I think that Georgia and Wisconsin are the most likely to flip. I think Nevada probably falls in there, Pennsylvania, and then Arizona and Michigan down there. But, I mean, either way, all these states are important. Let's not make any mistakes about that. But in terms of this primary, it doesn't exactly matter. I'm going to cover it just because we're here. I stream every Tuesday. I streamed last Tuesday. There was no primary, so why not? But I think we have to talk about the elephant leaving the room. And I'm not talking about Chris Christie because it's not a fat joke. I'm talking about Ronna McDaniel leaving the chairmanship after South Carolina, because she's not going to step down right now, but she's done. She's gone. And I've said for a long time, there's no excuse for her to stay there. There is no excuse whatsoever. Like, she's presided over the Republican Party for 3 election cycles now, and she has not really brought anything of note in terms of victory. She has not presided over anything that was even remotely a win. 2022, a fire festival. 2020, the messaging, terrible. 2018, I'm not even going to blame her entirely because, yeah, that was an election cycle where Republicans were going to lose regardless. You have a midterm year. You have a Republican president with an approval rating in the 40s. You still gain Senate seats. You probably should have done better down ballot, but a lot of the people that lost were rhinos. It was whatever. It wasn't a great election year. Still should have been able to win certain races. Scott Walker should have pulled off a victory. You should have still, maybe held the Senate seat in Arizona. You should have gone out there, recruited better candidates for West Virginia, recruited a better candidate for Ohio. But still, I'm not going to sit back here and say 2018 was entirely her fault. But 2022, that's an entirely different situation. And if you look at the entire fundraising for the RNC, they are in the absolute gutter. And you need to make change. You absolutely do need to make change. And when it comes down to it all, it's like, yeah, it's about time. It's about time that she steps down. And she is stepping down. And Donald Trump, I think, deserves credit for it. We don't know the full story of what's behind it, and that's true. But if you look at Trump over the past few days, what did he exactly say? He went out there and said, changes will be coming to the RNC very soon. We saw one of those head people under McDaniel step down earlier today, and I thought that that was what he was referring to. No, now you see it's different. Trump said at the time, he said McDaniel, was okay to begin with and fell off a cliff. That's what he said. It's funny because you have all the, neo-never-Trumpers that try to gaslight people into thinking that she's, best friends with Trump. No, Trump didn't even give her a full endorsement for re-election to the chair position. He said that, both of the leading candidates, he liked certain things about them, and he obviously did not make an endorsement. He stayed out of it. But still, McDaniel needs to go. She does, and she's going. It's over. And we're looking at this right here. Not only is she stepping down, but Trump is supporting Michael Whatley, allegedly, to be the new chairman. And he is extremely skilled. He has led a powerhouse down in North Carolina. He has built up a bench. He actually cares about having a party that is somewhat actually right-wing incompetent. And that is not what Ronna McDaniel does. She panders a lot to the left, and she's incompetent. And she's pissed off every single wing of the Republican Party. She's pissed off the donor class because they know she's incompetent. They know she's not going to lead any candidates to victory. That's why they are bailing. They are jumping off the ship. We need to get somebody in power who is competent, who cares about this country, who will recruit in all of these donations to actually prop up certain candidates. That's what needs to be done. That's how we save this country. That's how we save the party. And as a result, this is big news. This is the biggest news that you could get tonight. This is the biggest news for the Republican Party. You saw Michigan's changing up what they're doing. Now you're seeing it nationwide. And this significantly bolsters the odds, not just of a Donald Trump victory, because I've said he can transcend the funding unlike any other candidate. We've seen it in real time. Outspent 3-1 by Hillary, still won, didn't matter. He's stronger now. Biden's putting out those graphs about fundraising. They are misleading, not including PAC money for Trump, including PAC money for Biden, whatever. Either way, what we know is the RNC is in a total state of disaster, and McDaniel needs to go. And as a result, apparently, it seems like McDaniel is going, and she's on her way out. I mean, this has been announced tonight. She's stepping down. Do I believe that Donald Trump played a massive role in this? Absolutely, because he wants to win. Donald Trump is not somebody who wants to lose. He wants to go out there and win. He's willing to make the changes necessary to do so, more so than 2020. When he lost Johnson County, Iowa, to Nikki Haley by 1 vote, he fired the person in Johnson County who was the person that was in charge of getting out the people to vote for him. He fired him because he lost 1 county. He fired the guy. He means business this time around. He's going out there. He's making the adjustments that he needs to go out there and win. He's recruiting the donors back. A lot of people were upset about what he had to say about the Bud Light thing today. Technically, he's not entirely wrong. You have a lot of other companies that are far woker that just don't get the media coverage. Even beer companies. I wouldn't even put Anheuser-Busch in the top 5. When you take the stun out of the equation, it wouldn't even be in the top 10. You look at what Coors is doing. You look at what a lot of these other companies are doing, what they're pouring their money into. At least they donate to Trump sometimes. Trump is out there. He's, kind of trying to lower the temperature. And still, it's not going to change anything for me. But I see what he's doing. He's doing things to get donations flowing. He's willing to take the steps necessary to go out there and win this election that we need to win desperately. And he's doing it. And as a result, the chairwoman who has failed time and time again, whose fundraising numbers are in the gutter, she is out. She is done. She is forced out. Why is she forced out? Well, now we know. And she's not the only person we need to get rid of. I mean, Mitch McConnell, he needs to go. I mean, certain other people in House leadership, I'm not talking about the speaker necessarily, but a lot of people like Tom Emmer, he should have no position in leadership. There's so many people in the leadership of the GOP as a whole that need to be cleaned out. But McDaniel is somebody who had no business being there, especially after 2022. She should be long gone. She's now gone. And we don't know who's going to replace her. There's rumors that Kevin McCarthy might try to run. I don't think he has the support at this point needed to win. I think they understand that he would piss off the base unlike any other person at this point. And you look at what the person that Donald Trump is trying to get in there is, he is a much, much better upgrade by far. And that's great. You love to see it because you need people that know how to win. You need people who have experience in politics, have good intentions, but they also have to be competent and have the ability to get out there and win. You could put up some random MAGA boomer from the middle of West Virginia, make him RNC chair, but he probably doesn't know what he's doing, right? And he may have the best intentions in the world, but you're going to need somebody who has experience but also has good intentions. You're going to need somebody that can kind of build the bridge the gap between the donor class to get that money and also have the support of Trump and Trump's agenda and the MAGA base and do that. McDaniel seemed to burn both bridges. She didn't know what the hell she was doing, and now she's gone. Now she's gone. So there you go. There you go. It is officially over. Now, I don't believe we have any results out of Nevada just yet because Nevada counts slower than a snail, and that we know. So we will be updating the Nevada results, but there's a lot of other things that have taken place in the news today that I think are necessary to talk about. I will get to Super Chats in the intermediary because we do have a lot of them as well. Cole of Centauri Says, I think RSBN speculated Haley wants the primary, so the news will report her winning Nevada, so she seems relevant. Do I agree? Yeah, but she's dumb. It's not going to work. And, even if she wins it, it doesn't matter. She's not doing well. She's not. She's grandstanding. She's not going anywhere. She's not going to get any delegates out of this ordeal. It's all a stunt. It is. You win a primary without Trump on the ballot. Congratulations with like 10,000 votes of voter turnout. Seriously? She might not even win it. She might lose to the none of these candidates option. Like, seriously. Yeah, she might get second place, obviously, because Trump's not on the ballot, but still, every voter that supports Trump's going to go caucus for him probably, and maybe not in high numbers because you don't need to, because Trump's going to win regardless, but you should still get out there and caucus if you live in Nevada. I believe the caucus is on Thursday. I might stream Thursday night as well. We might do a call-in show then. Join the website if you guys want to call in. But still, it's crazy. Gorgeous Mayhem says, who would you like Trump to pick as VP, and who do you think Trump will pick as VP? Well, I think he's going to pick somebody who is not going to reduce his chances of victory, but he also probably is going to pick somebody who will not get in his way. I don't know who it's going to be. He mentioned Tim Scott and Kristi Noem. I think Noem is lower on the list compared to where she was a few months ago. You have the affair rumors circulating. You have a lot of other things going on with her. I think that if he's going to pick a woman, it's probably going to be Elise Stefanik. I think that if he's going to, go the man route, probably somebody like Elise Zeldin, Tim Scott, maybe Ben Carson. He might go out there and pick Vivek if he really wants to double down and pick his successor, but I don't think he's going to do that because I don't think he wants to get upstaged by somebody in terms of charisma on the ticket. So that's kind of the way it is. Trump, usually the people that he's going to surround him with, especially this time around, they're going to be loyal. They're not going to be a double down in the base pick, but they're also not going to be somebody who's going to upstage him in terms of star power or charisma. And it's hard to do, but I just think he's not going to go for somebody that's like a full-on future leader of the party or torchbearer. Some people want him to pick a successor. I think he's just going to pick somebody that if something happened to Trump, God forbid, that the country would not completely be finished. So he's not going to pick a Nikki Haley. He's not going to run it back with Mike America Last Pence either. So that's true. Johnny Heartdog says, happy anniversary. Well, thank you. Do you think that the Court of Appeals ruling denying immunity to Trump will make any difference? I'm thinking not. Probably not, because he's going to appeal it again. And I don't think he expected the verdict to come back in his favor. The bottom line is he's just trying to delay the trial as much as he possibly can. And it seems like he may do that successfully until after the election because the trial is off the docket. There's no set date for it, which is a good thing. And delaying these things is going to help make him stronger. So, the Sandwich Man says, a lot of Gen Z voters, including myself, will come onto the scene in November. I'll be voting for Trump. Does the 61-39 Dem rep split concern you? No, because it's lower than it's been in years past. So I'm not too worried about the age demographic thing. Also, we see polls showing Trump gaining with some older millennials. Usually people, when they get older, they typically lean a little bit more to the right to offset that. So that's what it comes down to. It's Legend says, I'm voting for Trump in Pennsylvania. Also, a lot more I know. Seems to be a recurring theme. Mitchell Ryan says, do you think the Supreme Court will overturn Trump's conviction from Washington? A little nervous about ACB and Roberts voting with the Dems. I think it just depends on which way they decide to interpret the case. In terms of the immunity thing, that's not the trial itself. That's not a conviction. That's just trying to see if Trump can get the case thrown out. I don't know if he's going to get it thrown out, but trying to delay the trial is the most important thing Trump is focusing on. And we know the D.C. courts take forever, the Supreme Court takes forever, so that's what Trump is trying to do. Okay, Mike Oxhard says, Ramaswamy probably gave Trump the advice to get RONNA out of there. I'm willing to bet at least $5 on it. Well, if he's the one that gave the advice, he deserves a lot of credit. I will say that. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's the case. I think the fundraising totals are mainly what did it, but also I think Trump understands that the base doesn't like her, so he's probably encouraging her and some other people behind the scenes to step down because Trump wants to win. And not only does he want to win, he wants down ballot Republicans to win so he has a better majority and a bigger majority to work with to advance his agenda, a rhino-proof majority that will get things done. So, up next, we have Red Politics 1776 says we must have a chairperson who encourages early voting, mail-in voting, and ballot harvesting in key battlegrounds. I agree 100%. M says first McCarthy, now McDaniel, next McConnell. He will fall after 2024. I don't think he's going to be taken out of leadership right now, but he's weak. John Waffle, H2P, says happy anniversary. Well, thank you once again. What do you think the strategy should be to win Pennsylvania? Focus on getting out as many voters as possible, which is pretty much self-explanatory, but also focus on the western part of the state as well as the Northeast, because I think there's a lot of flippable white working class voters that fell for the Scranton Joe facade. You got to go up to northeastern Pennsylvania and you have to deprogram that narrative, which I think it's already been done, but that's where you gain voters. And Philadelphia city proper, I think that Biden is going to struggle there, which doesn't really have any impact on what Trump does. But I don't think that the suburbs of Philadelphia are going to grow in ridiculous numbers for Biden at this stage in the game. I just don't. I mean, what would the pathway really be for Biden to gain? He might maximize with some suburban voters, but I think the margin's going to stay the same. I really do, especially with the third-party candidates in the running. So Brooke gifted one Red Eagle Politics membership. Congratulations. Thank you, Brooke. Johnny Heartdog says now we need to get rid of Mitch McConnell. That's true. Harry Cohen says, I just saw that McDaniel was out. This is phenomenal news, and I never thought would happen. I didn't think it would happen before the election. I know that she wasn't going to run after this election. I was worried she was going to stay in that position, do everything she could do to sabotage Donald Trump. But now, you know, we see the state of affairs there, and she's gone. So it's a big, big W for the Republican Party, but also Donald Trump tonight as well. Andrew Mortensen says, can't wait for Thursday when Birdbrain drops out. So happy that McDaniel's stepping down as well. We need America first. So happy with what's happening. Also, happy anniversary, bro. Been with you since the beginning. I'm with you until the end, man. You rock and have my utmost support. Well, thank you very much for those super chats. I appreciate it. Polite Rude Guy says, my lawsuit to overturn Obergefell will be sent to the AG of the U.S. and the U.S. AG of SA Division. The summons and complaint are due by February 29th. Game on. Well, we'll see what happens there. On Point Politics for 5 says, honestly, having McDaniel step down is a huge step up for Trump, going to make our chances a lot better. Also, can I get a shameless plug? Yes, everybody check out On Point Politics. He sent in the 5. Appreciate that. Mr. Jimmy says, thoughts on Mayorkas impeachment fail because of rhinos. Well, we're going to talk about that right now. It's be a good time to pivot to the next segment. We don't have any votes in out of Nevada. Still, we're 23 minutes in. We have yet to tabulate a single ballot. And there's not that many of them, by the way. I heard turnout today was piss poor across the board. Like, it was in the 4 digits of Election Day turnout for both parties. And that was like their goal. I don't even know if they got that. In some counties, they weren't even getting 100 votes in total. It's crazy. I mean, they're smaller counties, but still you would anticipate them to still get more than what they got. Either way, in terms of Biden, we have to pivot to talk about the border because I promised that we would talk about the border. And Biden is taking a lot of L's on the border. And he's been taking a lot of L's so far. Because Biden, for years, were saying 2021, there's no crisis. 2022, there's no crisis. 2023, there's no crisis. Now we have a crisis, and it's the fault of Trump, who's not even an office holder, because one bill that had a lot of pork in it, that was not really about the border, that essentially established a catch and release policy as well, because they could deport up to, I think, 5,000 people per day. We're getting overwhelmed with far more than that. And now we're like new arrivals that it was talking about. Those weren't exactly like, we're going to deport 5,000 people a day at sustained. But either way, we're getting overwhelmed. That bill was a joke. That bill was a complete and total joke. It does not secure the border whatsoever. So Biden's essentially trying to hold people hostages to put this bill forward that essentially gives more money to Ukraine than it does our southern border, gives almost as much money to Israel than it does our southern border, and has a lot of pork for a lot of other things that are not the southern border, and then establishes policy that essentially weakens a potential response to how we deal with the southern border. It does not fix the problem whatsoever. But Biden's trying to sit back here and act like it does. And he said it's the fault of Trump and MAGA Republicans why the border is wide open, why America is being invaded. Now he's starting to talk about it, as I predicted he would do, because it's electoral poison either way for him. But now you have to realize the border is open because of Biden. The crisis happened because of Biden. He got rid of the Remain in Mexico policy and encouraged people to surge to the border, and they did, and he's catching them. In many cases, they get released. They get released into the American public. They don't want to deport them because they know this is a part of their long-term strategy to establish these people as future citizens and future voters for future Democrat presidential candidates, politicians as a whole. We know why they're doing that. And a lot of Republicans, they're fine with it too. They're fine being in the minority so long as they get their donations, because, open borders is something a lot of Republicans support. Why? Because the cheap labor, the mega donors, they support that. They don't care about securing the border. That's why Trump was different. He came along, brought a different vision forward. He's blaming Trump for this, but Trump gave Biden a near record low border crossings in total when Biden took over per month. You can go back and look at the statistics on the government websites. It was nearing record lows, and Trump had a little bit of a mini border crisis. He dealt with it. Mexico was doing their part, and as a result, we saw lower border crossings as a whole. They say Trump deported less than Obama. Well, first of all, Trump was president for 4 years. Obama was president for 8. Second of all, Donald Trump changed the definition back to the Bush-era definition of what a deportation was, so you can't exactly compare the two. And 3, you also had less people illegally crossing the border under Donald Trump. So they leave that out, but also what we know is that this crisis is a direct result of Biden's power. When he took power, you saw illegal border crossings spike to record highs. We're being invaded. Millions of people, if they became a state, everybody who illegally crossed, it'd be like the 18th most populated state. Like, you get a new Montana every few months. You get a new Wisconsin every other year at the rate things are going. I mean, this is not something that's normal in the slightest. This is not something that should be looked at as, oh, this is fine. And it's definitely not Donald Trump's fault. Like, this gaslighting is dumb. I don't believe it's going to work. Biden's approval rating on the issue is like in the low 30s. It is abysmal. Completely abysmal. We could look at this Biden approval rating. We could go and we could see it on Real Clear Politics right here. And you could look at this. We can go to immigration. It is currently, he's down by over 30 points on the issue. It's getting worse by the day. It's getting worse by the day. It was not this bad if you go back, back in the day. It was like, minus 15, minus 20. Now it's minus 31.3 in the aggregate. Even Democrats in sizable numbers disapprove of Joe Biden's immigration policy. That's not going to change. Doubling down on what you're doing is not going to change. Putting this sham measure forward is not going to change. And Republicans should have impeached the current Secretary of Homeland Security for not doing his job. And that would be popular because the guy is despised. People disapprove of this job performance by this administration by 30-some points on this issue. Impeaching him is doable, at least in the House. I don't believe it would pass in the Senate. But still, you should do it. Now, impeaching Biden, should he be impeached? Yes, but is it really politically advantageous? It's a little bit of a gamble. The inquiry is a good thing because they get to investigate and bring things to the forefront without actually putting it up to a vote, because the vote would fail to impeach Biden for sure. But the vote to impeach Mayorkas, it's doable and it should be done. But still, you have 4 Republicans in safe red districts voting against, and it barely failed, which is ridiculous. These people have no business in the Republican Party whatsoever. They're unwilling to secure the border. Now, some say 2 did it for strategic purposes, and they're waiting to redo the vote when I think Scalise is going to be in attendance. He wasn't there this past vote today, so maybe there is another chance to impeach him. We have yet to see, but still, there's no excuse for this. Even like Don Bacon and like all these California Republicans in Biden plus 10 districts, they're voting to impeach. They're voting to impeach this clown, but these people aren't. So I don't know. It seems like when even the people that you expect to fail you do the right thing, there's going to be somebody out of nowhere that doesn't. Mike Gallagher, people wanted this guy to run for Senate. Really? Like, he's not even that good of a candidate, for one. For two, he's caving to the worst guy, one of the most unpopular people in Biden's administration. It's a disaster. It's a complete and total disaster that these people call themselves an opposition party when they're unwilling to function as one. They aren't. And it's sad, especially when you have a majority this narrow. They got rid of Santos. George Santos would have been the deciding vote, and he would have impeached this guy. But they got rid of him because of, corruption. I mean, if that's really why you're getting rid of somebody, there's probably, 75% of the entire Congress that you would have to get rid of if you really dug into their past. You would. Make no mistake about it. But, this guy lied about certain things in his past. Let's get him out of there. Really? No, it's because he's challenging the system. That's the number one reason why they got rid of him, because they don't like disruptors. And that's exactly what he is. He's not somebody who's a pushover. He's not somebody who's a rhino. He's not even somebody that kept quiet either. So they did everything they could do to throw him under the bus. And as a result, Biden's administration gets to take a W for that, because if you actually impeach the guy and it paid off, you would have seen positive political effects, not negative political effects, because nobody likes the job that this guy is doing at Secretary of Homeland Security. You might as well just abolish the position as a whole, and the job would be done the same, because that's exactly what is happening. And we don't want to do that. We want competent leadership in there. But either way, this is bad news for Biden. It's good news for Trump. And he's going to use this to his advantage going forward on the campaign trail. And you talk about Arizona, you talk about Nevada, you talk about Texas. Those are key states. I think Texas goes red regardless. But Arizona, that's on the border. That's a swing state. If Trump milks this issue to his advantage, it's going to pay off for him. It will. And it will pay off for him even among Hispanic voters as well. Because you have a lot of Republicans that are too afraid to crack down on the border. But then you look at these polls and it's even a majority of Hispanic voters say that Biden is not doing his job at the border and that he's being too weak on the issue. It's there's no excuse. There's no excuse for a lot of these people to do the right thing. But still, they continue to fail to do the right thing at every possible single turn, and it is very, very, very frustrating. So, without further ado, we'll go back to the Nevada results, and we have none. We have no Nevada results. We probably don't even get any on this stream, come to think about it. Think about that. We have 0 results, and we've been doing this for 35 minutes. It's a disgrace, but whatever. Let's see. Let's check the more super chats that we have, because we have a lot more. Let's see. Where did we leave off? Okay. Doomsday Machine for 10 says he should absolutely pick Vivek for VP. Nobody can cover Trump's weaknesses as well as Vivek, and Vivek can help advise Trump directly. Also, he could run separate rallies. Happy anniversary. Well, thank you. I think he could still do the rally part. I think he will. I think he'll be a great campaign surrogate. He is a complete and total workhorse on the campaign trail. But Vivek as a whole, covering Trump's weaknesses, I feel like he might be able to defend him well on a debate stage, but he's very similar to Trump in a lot of ways, to the point where I'm not entirely sure that him as VP is his role. Him as an advisor would be a very good role, and already you're seeing positive changes from Trump in terms of opposing like a crypto central bank and things like that. That's all Vivek. That's not stuff that I really think that Donald Trump thinks about on a day-to-day basis. So Mike Oxard says, plot twist, 100% of votes are in, 0 votes for Haley, Pence, and Scott. Yeah. I mean, this might be the only ballot Mike Pence is on. Like, seriously. Like, are you serious? The guy dropped out, like, in the fall. And who are half of these people? Who is the only Donald on the ballot is Donald Kjornes? I don't even know who that is. Hirsch Singh, which is like dollar store Vivek Ramaswamy's on the ballot. But Donald Trump is not on the ballot. DeSantis isn't on the ballot. I mean, none of the main candidates besides Haley are on the ballot. Haley probably does finish in first place, but she might fall behind none of these candidates, which would be absolutely hilarious. Now, the Democrat primary, you have Biden, you have... Is Dean Phillips even on the ballot? He's not. It's just Biden and Marianne Williamson. So I'm sure Biden gets close to 90-some% of the vote, but still, watch the margins of his total turnout, because it doesn't matter if you get 100% of the vote. If you can't energize enough people to turn out and vote for you, you're cooked. You are struggling with enthusiasm, and you can't gloss it over and treat it like it's a victory and run damage control that's going to be effective at that point. You just cannot do that. So, let's see. Shirley Rose Lee, thank you for the 10. Him Sung and Unsung says, is it possible that New Mexico could flip red? It would be unlikely. I will say that. It's Legend says Gates endorsed McCarthy for the chair. Joke. I mean, that sounds like a joke to me. Base Cat, who's been a member for 41 months, I think that might be a record, sent a member chat saying, congrats on your anniversary and 163,000 subs. I found your channel years ago when there weren't too many political analyzers on YouTube. Time to beat LT. Well, we beat them. We beat them quite a while ago, but the Republicans didn't know how to do their job in the midterms, but thankfully we have new leadership now, or we'll be getting new leadership. So like the channel, subscribe. We're almost to 1,000 likes. We could hit that within like 5 seconds, but we're definitely doing well on the subscriber front. I feel like we're gaining like 300, 400 subs a day. So if you're not yet subscribed, hit the subscribe button. You can't use the live chat unless you do. You got to wait a minute, go back out, go in. You could type in chat, but no freeloaders for the live chat anymore. In terms of the non-subscribers, I did make that rule. I think it's a great thing YouTube does that. I know other platforms for streaming have done that years before YouTube, but they did the right thing there. So appreciate the member chat. Andrew Mortensen says, everyone get this man to 200K subs before the election. Tell your friends and subscribe. Get to work and don't be lazy. And also vote and don't be lazy. Well, tell your friends to vote. That's more important than getting them to subscribe to my channel, even though you should do both. But yeah, 200K, that should be done long before Election Day at the rate we're going. But we have a long way to go, for sure. We do. So make sure you guys get involved in the presidential election. Make sure you take 10 people out to vote with you. Get people you know are not registered out to vote, because we could sway an election to Trump with the amount of manpower we have if everyone does their job. I mean, we have 2,200 people watching right now listening to me. If you get 10 people out to vote, that's 20,000 voters across the country that you got out to vote. And if they do the same thing, then you're reaching 10 more people. Find people that are slightly apolitical, convince them, and they will vote, and you will have a domino effect. If that happens, you will have reached, I think, 200,000 people. That's more than enough to sway an election in Trump's direction for sure. So 100%. FTMO Daddy says, does Andrew Tate red pilling the youth help Trump? Well, I feel like a lot of people that are gravitating towards Andrew Tate just happen to be right-wing already. I don't know how many people he's red-pilled, and also it feels like he's not as active as he was. I don't see his content as much as I used to. But young men as a whole are a goldmine for Republicans. I want to do a video, if not like a documentary style video, on why that is. I feel like it could do very well because it's true. I mean, disaffected young men exist in high numbers, and I feel like that's a prime demographic. We hear all the time, Republicans need to go after the suburban women. But you never hear them say the same thing about men. Men exist. They're 50% of the population as well. And suburban men are more malleable. And the suburban women that are malleable would be more likely to listen to their husbands regarding politics. So it kind of is a domino effect that would, carry over and down to suburban women. And that's something people just aren't realizing for some reason. I don't know why that is. But yeah, I mean, you talk about masculinity as a whole, it's inherently right-wing. And you talk about what femininity really, implies. A lot of it does kind of, revolve around not focusing that much on politics. So long as we have policies in a society that's set up to actually have men be encouraged to be more masculine and women encouraged to be more feminine, everybody should be voting the correct way. And obviously, I think the Overton window would shift. You'd have a Democrat Party that would have to shift over right-leaning to stay in business, really, at that point. But we have a long way to go. We're a very polarized country for sure. But in terms of Tate himself, I don't know how much him supporting Trump really moves the needle, because I feel like a lot of people that support Tate also would support Donald Trump. And that's just the way I see it. But like the whole self-improvement, masculinity, community as a whole, I honestly feel like they do lean more right, and they do maybe have a little bit of sway, but I don't know if it would be enough. And it's kind of like a chicken or the egg type of thing overall. So Christopher Laurie says, do you think Matt Rosendale should run for Senate? When's the primary? No, because I think he waited too long, and he's probably going to lose the Senate primary, and he's going to lose his House seat to an establishment Republican. So I think it's a lose-lose. I like Rosendale. I just don't think that he's in a position right now to run for Senate and win. So let's see. Jason Christie for 10 says, man, I'm so sad to see McDaniel go. She helped us win big in 2017 and 2018 and 2019 and 2020 and 2021 and 2022 and 2023. I'm joking if it wasn't. Yeah, it was obvious. But she's overseen a lot of losses. And I look at people in the world of sports. It's a similar concept. Any other job, really. If you have a CEO that experiences profit losses for 6 straight years, you get rid of them. Especially when it can be attributed to the fact that it's their fault directly. People like to blame Trump for everything. In reality, Trump is not the one recruiting candidates. That's not his job. He is a candidate himself. And all the candidates he's really endorsed have been candidates that were going to win the primary anyway. That's why you have endorsements that are, for example, like Lombardo in Nevada, he was going to win the primary anyways. That's kind of why Trump endorsed him. The same thing goes for a lot of people that are a part of the MAGA wing, like Doug Mastriano. He only got the Trump endorsement when he was winning by 15 points in the primary. He just didn't know how to run a general election campaign. People will say that's proof that Trump can't win Pennsylvania, but it's not true. But still, yeah, you look at, how many times have we seen just incompetent organizations in sports have general managers and coaches that just sucked. I mean, there's no reason why these people should be employed given the way that they behaved, but still they may have been for a couple of years, but even then they get cut. I think of Matt Patricia, Bob Quinn from the Lions. They got cut, and now look what happens. The Lions have their most successful season this past season since 1957 with the regime that's only been there for 3 years. So you're looking at the big picture. It's like, yeah, leadership matters. You can't blame the quarterback necessarily for that happening. You have to blame who's really assembling, who's in control of a lot of different things, and they get the majority of the blame, and they should get the majority of the blame, but why blame them when you could have the party establishment just blame Trump for everything because they want to get him out of the way? That's why, because they're corrupt. They don't want to win. But now, hey, we get new leadership. It's much better. The Green Renegade says, if you could advise Trump on who to pick to replace Rhino, Romney, McDaniel, who would be your top 3 and why for each one? Honestly, it's probably going to be the North Carolina guy. I don't have a top three. I mean, you see people talk about Vivek. I don't think he's going to want the job. I don't know what his experience is in the position. You probably want somebody that has experience. I think Vivek's going to be in Trump's cabinet. When you look at people talk about Lee Zeldin, he's an option, but I don't think he wants the position either. I think it's going to be the North Carolina guy, the current chairman there, and he's actually pretty good. The party's extremely competent. They send in sleeper agents, basically. They send in sleeper agents from the Democrats. You saw that one woman, Trisha something, forgot her last name, but she ran as a Democrat. She won. She flipped to be a Republican. Then they have a supermajority. Roy Cooper's useless. And now they redistrict the map. She's in a safe red district. It's like they're the most competent party, arguably, in the country. I mean, Florida's up there. I'm not saying Florida's not. There's plenty of others. Texas, there's flaws in the Texas GOP. There are rhinos. But in terms of them being, able to get out the vote and recruit people overall, they're pretty good. Even California and New York have more competent Republican parties than a lot of swing states. That's criminal. That in and of itself is criminal. But still, you're looking at what's happening there. That's a very good thing to happen for sure. Die for Oil says, happy anniversary from Camp Pendleton, California. Who do you think will replace McDaniel? I answered that, the North Carolina guy. Everyone says Scott Pressler. And I feel like he registers voters, but does he know about fundraising? Does he know about a lot of things that are necessary for operating a GOP? I'm not saying that you can't have a role for him, but what I'm saying is I don't know if he'd be best suited to have that position in and of itself. But I will say this about the whole ordeal. I think that there's a lot of people that I see fall on the Pressler thing as a crutch, because you have people that I feel like are less likely to get involved just because, Scott Pressler's doing this, he's doing that. And I'm not knocking what he's doing. This isn't a shot at him, but I feel like I see a lot of people just point to that and act like, now I don't have to get involved. Now I don't have to do anything. And it's like, no, we need a lot more people than just Scott Pressler. He shouldn't be a name that's considered to be a household name based off of, the fact that he registers voters. I feel like there's a lot of people that are capable of doing that need to be getting out and doing it. And I know he's helped people do that as well. I'm not saying that he would disagree with that point. But what I'm saying is you have a lot of people who I feel like can get involved, a lot of people who are able-bodied but maybe like retired, who, have time and money on their hands. It's like, get involved. You want to see the country change and you're not willing to put in every ounce of effort that you can, then, you are complicit in the problem as well. That's the way I see it. I mean, some people have packed schedules. They can't do it. I get that. Maybe they can give a little bit of money here and there to donate, whatever. I think more people are going to be donating to the RNC after what happened tonight. But, it's true. A lot of people can do the work Pressler's doing. A lot of people can get involved. I will say that. I don't think it's that controversial. We have a lot of people who are more than capable of getting things done. Let's see here. Brooke again gifted a rep membership. Let's see. Any more super chats? We have several. Sam Madsen says, in your opinion, when did we start getting super polarized? I think there's things you can point to. I think that the 1990s with the Gingrich Revolution, you started to see a lot of seats in the House flip for the first time. I think in the Bush era, but also after Obama, I think 2008 was the big dividing thing, and then Obama doing everything possible to not rectify that divide or build the bridge kind of also accelerated it as well. Then you have the Tea Party, then you have the left's reaction to the Tea Party, then you have, Trump come along and the left's reaction to Trump, and the divide gets even bigger. It's not like you have people jumping over that are like kind of on the fence as much as you used to, but you also do have some people that will, change their mind and jump ship politically speaking too. But yeah, Derek says, MAGA, make Australia great again. Trump fan from Australia. Another Australian fan sending a super chat here says, RONNA budgeted $50,000 of RNC cash every year on beauty services. Yeah, how did that work out for her? But praise God for her removal. Let's spend that cash harvesting ballot. Steve Bannon for RNC chair. I don't think he's going to get that, but we'll see. The Sandwich Man says, that's it, folks. Nevada's all in. 0 votes for Haley. Yeah, we don't have any votes in. Like, I'm not even, like, not refreshing. It refreshes automatically. We don't have any votes in. M says, Tate is an Islamist degenerate. Masculinity is important, but his version of masculinity involves polygamy and ultra-materialism. Yeah, I don't entirely disagree. I think that Tate is good. You know, he says some things that are good. I also think that he has a past that is not so good, and he... you know, when it comes down to his worldview, it's a little warped. I think it's definitely probably better than a lot of what the mainstream pushes, but it's not entirely quite ideal either. And that we know. He's somebody that's he's not really a perfect role model. You know, I think that, you know, aspiring to be successful and wealthy and, you know, capable of attracting attractive women is a good thing. I don't think that's a bad thing in and of itself, but I think Tate does have a past that involves some sketchy, more degenerate stuff. So I think both of those things can be true. I think we need probably better role models that are like masculine, and I think that the fact that there's not a lot of them and people gravitate towards Andrew Tate does probably say something more about the state of the current society than it says about Andrew Tate himself, but that's just the way I see it. Base Cat says, make Cenk emoji great again. Well, if he wins Vermont like he claims he wants to do in the primary, despite not even being eligible to be president, I'll bring it back. Let's see. Parks and Places says, build the wall, deport them all. So true. Brooke, another Australian. How many Australians do we have in chat? Tonight says, hello from Australia to Red Eagles. Parks and Places says, build the wall, deport them all. I think we read that one already. Still no results out of Nevada. We have 2,000 live viewers. Like and subscribe, by the way. Subscribe if you are new. Subscribe to use the live chat. I cannot stress that enough. Make sure you subscribe. Scott Hammond says, when you talk about the North Carolina guy, are you referring to Michael Whatley, who is the North Carolina RNC chairman? Yes, I am. Congratulations on 5 years. Thank you. Yeah, 5 years. For those who are just tuning in, we are celebrating our 5-year anniversary tonight on this channel. We've been around for 5 years. It's been a ride. 163,000 subscribers. We have, I think, 61,000 on Twitter. We've got about, I think, 32 million views. And that's all going to go up from here. This year's a big year. It's already been a big year, so we're going to continue for sure. But it's crazy. Wyatt says, the real into our current issue started with Woodrow Wilson and what was made worse by his protege FDR. They are our worst presidents ever, I believe you meant to say. Yeah, I mean, Wilson, he gets a lot of hate. He was not a good president, that we know. FDR as a whole, you talk about the economy, and it's like certain aspects were popular, they worked, but also did they prolong the Great Depression? Probably. Did they kind of institute this welfare state that kind of gets people sort of addicted to it and unable to get off of it? Yeah, I think LBJ is arguably a lot worse. LBJ did a lot of irreparable damage in a lot of ways. But Jan Glory says, do you think Trump will enforce the treason laws? I guess it would depend how you mean how he would enforce them. But still nothing out of Nevada. It's going to be like, 2 hours after the stream. Okay, now they're saying they expect the first votes to be reported around 11 Eastern, which is in 7 minutes. So we are holding out hope that on the stream we can get some results out of the useless Nevada primary. And I say it's useless because it's not binding. Trump's not on the ballot. He's on the caucus ballot, which will be taking place in a couple of days. But he's not running against anybody, so I don't think it's really going to matter. We could gauge the enthusiasm. And I tell you, if he gets more votes in the caucus than Biden gets in the primary, it is game over. But let's see. T-Birder V8 says, do you think Youngkin will commit political suicide and sign a AWB? What's an AWB? What are you referring to? I don't know what you're abbreviating. So if somebody could clarify, that would be great. Oh, assault weapons ban. I don't think so. I don't think he has a reason or an incentive to, especially if he wants to run for president one day, like so many people claim. It wouldn't end well for him in a primary. Rhinos YTH says, happy anniversary, Trump 2024. So true on both fronts. Thank you. Two Wheel Lunatic says, let's go Brandon. Let's go Brandon. And Brandon is at 0 votes too, because they're not reporting, but we'll have to see. But talking about the polls as a whole, because we could touch base on this. Donald Trump nationally leads by 2 points. We're still waiting for the after primary bump for Biden. We haven't really seen one. It's like, yeah, we saw one outlier poll skew the average a little bit, but this is like the same as it was on January 16th. So actually it's I think a point more for Trump than it was back then too. So, oh well, we'll go back to Nevada. We'll wait on our results to not pour in. So John Waffle says Carter was the worst for foreign policy. Yeah, Carter is somebody who was a disaster on a lot of fronts as president. A lot of people like him. They think he's a decent guy for his philanthropy. But as a president, yeah, him and Biden are similar presidencies, and that was the last Democrat to be a one-termer. So overall, it's interesting. But nothing out of Nevada yet. If you guys want to keep sending in super chats, I will be getting to them because we really don't have a lot else to talk about. But McDaniel being gone, that is big news for Republicans. They have a lot more leeway in terms of their ability to be competent, I guess. So we'll see. Two Wheel Lunatic says Sleepy Joe is worse than Carter and Barry Hussein Obama combined. Yeah, I agree. I think that, Obama, because talk about the Obama presidency, because it was awful. I'm not trying to discount that because it was. But the economy, as slow as the growth was, when Trump was running for president, the economy was doing better for a lot of people in the eyes of a lot of people, more so than it is right now, which really says something. And it's similar because the metrics were good on certain fronts, but people didn't see it in important states that were needed to win. And now you're seeing that on steroids with this administration. Foreign policy on steroids, what you're seeing now compared to what you saw during the Obama administration. The White House going woke on steroids on a lot of fronts. Overall, yeah, Obama's presidency was a disaster, but Biden is like doing that on steroids with a little bit of like brain damage mixed in. So Dilly Bod says, what do you think about Brandon Herrera running for the 23rd district in Texas? I believe that's the one down by the border. That's the Tony Gonzalez district. And I mean, honestly, if he wins the primary, that'd be an upgrade for sure. I don't know if there's any other candidates running, but I know it goes to a runoff either way. So whatever. But yeah, Ronna Romney McDaniel, gone. She is done for. She's done in the party after South Carolina, stepping down. So it's time to do a little victory lap. It really is. But we're still waiting on results out of Nevada. We have absolutely nothing out of Nevada. But like the stream, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. Let's get up towards 164. I don't think we're going to get it tonight, obviously, because we just hit 163 this morning. But still, let's get closer. Join the bandwagon. You could get bragging rights. You don't want to join when we're at a million subs when you could have joined earlier. So let's see. We could look at regular chat as well if we have to. But, yeah, Nevada, nothing. And it doesn't, like I said, this is not a binding primary. If Haley wins it, it doesn't matter because Trump's not on the ballot. And the caucus is what counts. Haley didn't do the caucus because she's a bird brain, as Donald Trump puts it. She's bird brain. And bird brain is now cooked chicken. She's cooked. She's done. It's over. It's been over for her since New Hampshire. New Hampshire was a complete and total disaster for her, but that was the best she could do. She put all of her eggs in the New Hampshire basket. You had an electorate that was 53% non-Republican, and she won like 60% of those voters, obviously, but it didn't matter. At the end of the day, it didn't matter. Wyatt says, my point was just all of our issues started with the massive central government and FDR and Wilson. Well, they definitely contributed to the downfall. Obviously, they did. I think that right now, when people talk about like limited government or whatever, it kind of can be a little bit of a trap that the establishment uses, and then the left can back people into a corner and say, well, you support this then. You have to support this then. And technically it's not true whatsoever. But in terms of the whole like small government thing or whatever, problem also is that we have people in our government that should not be in our government. A lot of people that need to be gutted. A lot of people call it the deep state or whatever. But still, you have a massive problem with corruption, with the bureaucracy. And we do need to get rid of a good portion of the government, I guess, the federal government in that way. But I mean, if you had our people, good people, occupying those power structures, it wouldn't be as much of an issue, in my opinion, is what I'm saying. But yeah, we'd get rid of the ATF. We get rid of probably even the FBI in a lot of fronts, gut a lot of these intelligence agencies. That's kind of what I view like the benefit of smaller government being, or limited government on that front, because I feel like the term small government is kind of a trap. It's a trap to have conservatives just feel like they're being conservative by doing absolutely nothing, and that's not true, and that's not how it works. And we should cut spending here and there. We should be trying to balance our budget, but more importantly, we should be trying to root out a lot of the corruption from within the deep state and drain the swamp. And we didn't exactly get the swamp drained in the first Trump term. I'm more optimistic about the second because he's surrounding himself with better people. He's out for revenge. And that's what a lot of people who are Trump skeptical that may have supported him in the past need to understand, that Trump out for revenge is going to be the best Trump, because he doesn't have to worry about re-election, for one. And for two, he actually has a reason to push back on these people because he's been wronged by the system despite spending 4 years trying to play ball with that same very system. It did not exactly work out in his advantage. So, let's see. Eric Saul says, Gates endorsing McCarthy for RNC, claiming he's a fundraising juggernaut. I support this. If Scott Presler has a role, Biden will let he sends through. Is that actually true that Gates said that? Because that's unbelievable. Okay, he's saying that Kevin organizes, he's a very high revenue fundraiser, and the RNC chair doesn't make policy decisions. But I don't think that's the right move. He's getting ratioed completely on this. Like, that just like his political instinct to remove McCarthy was right, but if he's going to try to install him in this position, because they do set the tone, they do set messaging, they do have a very key role in advancing a lot of candidates. So is he a fundraiser? He can fundraise, but it's a very short-sighted way of looking at this thing, because a lot of people can fundraise, and they do set the agenda. They absolutely do control messaging to a large degree. We saw McDaniel push for certain things. They have a say in the platform. That they oversee a lot of things. So Gates did say this. I don't know why he said it, because if he's just, no, that's just a dumb move. There's no way around it. This isn't some 4D chess. This is some, oh, it sounds smart, but is it going to work out at the end? No, it's not. So it's a good thing Trump is pushing for, allegedly pushing for Michael, was it Watley? Or whatever his name is. We have a major super chat, Dilly Bod, for $100. That is the biggest super chat of the stream. If anybody wants to top that, be my guest. But he says, no matter what, this election will be crazy. Here's $100. Love the work you do. Thanks for making polls easier to understand. Trump 2024. Well, thank you, Dilly Bod, for the 100. Trump 2024 indeed. And appreciate that. Big super chat from Dilly Bod. So thank you for that one. Really appreciate it. And it's 100% true. You know, this election is going to be the most consequential, and it's crazy. And we haven't even talked about what happens if Trump wins, because if you think they're going to give up power easily, I'm not saying that the election results are guaranteed to be, you know, effed one way or another. Because listen, I'm not saying that it can't happen. I'm just saying Trump is in a very good position to beat any possible instances of such thing. But when it comes down to what you saw with Trump not conceding, that's precedence. And it was going to be precedence regardless. But you look at it, Biden is not going to leave power very easily. He's not. I'm just saying that. I'm not saying he won't leave, but I'm saying they will try. They will try to. They're already. They got to come up with an insurance policy, because you know they're going to try to do the same thing they did to the first Trump presidency on steroids, try to stifle it, because they know how competent this campaign has been run this time around. They know Trump's a serious threat. All the people that opposed Trump in the primary saying Trump is washed and Trump is just a puppet or whatever, they're going after him seriously. This isn't just so he wins the nomination, because they're still doing it. And the polls, they said, were inflated so he'd win the nomination. But he won the nomination, basically. The polls are looking better than ever for Trump. He's up by 8 points in Georgia, 5 in Michigan, 4 in Arizona, like 7 in North Carolina. Like, seriously. Seriously. Two Wheel Lunatic says, Lee Zeldin is the founder of Zell. Is that real? Or is that a joke based on his name? But I don't know. He'd be the best choice for our party chair. I mean, like, I'd be open to it. I'm not condemning it. It depends if he's on Trump's VP shortlist or not, too. But Kelly R. says, why am I not seeing Trump in the Nevada primary? Because he's not on the ballot. He opted to run for the primary that counts, which is the Nevada caucus, which takes place on Thursday. And Haley's not even running in that because she's a bird brain. And she, I guess, is hoping for a publicity advantage to come from her being on the ballot in the primary that doesn't even matter, which is so dumb. So there's no delegates here. Trump basically has all the delegates in Nevada locked up. It's just dumb. So I don't really see what she's trying to do. But this is the reason why in the lower third graphic it says that this is a useless primary, is because it is a useless primary. Let's see. Tucson Paleocon says Gates has to be joking. An hour after supporting McCarthy for chair, he attacked him for being selfish while House Speaker on Newsmax. Well, my problem with the Gates tweet is it was worded in a way that was not a joke. And, like, given the fact that people said that he was supporting Emmer to replace McCarthy behind the scenes, kind of shows that while his initial gut instincts might be good, he doesn't know how to look at the full picture sometimes. And this is consistent with that, given the fact that, yeah, McCarthy might be able to fundraise, but still having him as leader of the chair, you're going to get the same thing over and over again. The allocation to certain candidates, shafting certain candidates, promoting certain things but not others, reverting the agenda back to the days of old. Like, that would be a massive problem. Like, in the short term, might he get more money? Might he help Trump out in some ways? A lot of people are capable of doing that. That's my problem that I have with that. There's no reason for him to get rewarded with a prestigious position after the sabotage that was the 2022 midterms that he played a massive role in. I can't believe that Gates would even say such a thing. But if he really was backing Emmer to replace McCarthy behind the scenes, maybe it's consistent. I don't know. But it's wrong. So John Waffle says, do you think Biden concedes if he loses? Not easily. It depends on the election. There's a chance, but I mean, you will have Democrats that already, because people will say, well, Trump didn't concede. He wasn't being a team player or whatever. If you look at certain reports, they were doing like these mock scenarios behind the scenes. John Podesta, all these people, this is public information. It's confirmed before 2020 that they wanted like certain demands if they were going to give up or have Trump have another term, like something about making Puerto Rico a state. All these, states would become states. Like California would split up into 5 different states to guarantee like a permanent filibuster majority for the Dems. Like, there's no way. Like, honestly, whatever the Dems say about, oh, Trump's reaction to 2020 was bad or whatever. This was on steroids, and it probably would have happened if Donald Trump got a majority of the, vote in the certified totals or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it's very possible something can happen. I don't know what it will be, but to say, oh, it's just going to be like 2016 and Trump's going to instantly just march to the White House, not saying he won't get in there, but there will be some backroom deals probably made between Republican leadership. It's a big mess. A big mess, folks. You will see what happens. I don't want to talk about it too much because I don't want to demoralize people, and we need Trump to get elected regardless. But seriously, it could be a big mess. And you're completely right to say that there's a very big chance that Biden's not going to go out easy. And whatever you saw in 2020, that is not even that'll pale in comparison. But it's okay because Democrats will just say, well, it doesn't matter because we're protecting democracy. Yeah, whatever. Okay. They will. They'll do it worse. They always do. It's a pendulum. It's how it works in politics. You'll see mass-scale protests and rioting. I mean, we saw that in 2016, except this time I don't think Biden's going to concede as easily. That doesn't mean that he's going to be able to stay in power, but you never know. Jen Hay says, will abortion doom the GOP in future elections? We'll be talking about this in a video. I think abortion's not going to be as big of an issue in 2024 as it was in 2022. Biden will fall in that to energize voters. But folks, Donald Trump is not an extremist. I don't want to use that term because that's the term the left uses, but he's not a hardliner, I will say, on abortion. He's somebody that's more pragmatic, and it's kind of wise in a way because there's not so much you can even do at the federal level past a certain point that would hold up. Like, you need 60 votes to get anything through, for one, even if you get rid of the filibuster, which is a possibility. Like, even then, would a 12-week ban hold up in the courts? And you don't even have a majority of Republican senators that would support such a thing, probably, just being realistic here. So, I think that he's pragmatic on it. I think that he understands he'll leave it to be a state issue. We're not going to codify Roe. We're going to oppose late-term abortion, which is severely unpopular, which Biden supports, which they consistently lie about. But I don't think it's going to be as big of an issue as people make it out to be. You will see some fired up Democrats on it. There's a reason why, certain states like Virginia and Minnesota are going to be completely or probably more off the table than they could have been. But Democrats don't have anything. They have zero to run on. And honestly, Trump just saying, I support the verdict of Roe is not electoral poison, because when you poll what Roe actually does, what does it show? It shows a majority of Americans believe states have the rights to, make that up. But I feel like a lot of people kind of get used to the law. Like, if you want to, get an abortion and you're in Texas, a lot of people would just, I guess, drive up to Kansas. Like, it's wrong. I don't support abortion, but your average voter, talking about if that's their key issue, are they going to be as fired up about it as they were in 2022? Probably not. I would guess. I'm not saying that Biden isn't going to use it to his advantage. I'm not saying that, that's the one issue that could help him. But it's like in some polls, it's polling a little bit above climate change as the number one issue. And climate change, who has climate change down as their number one issue? Seriously? I'm not saying that people don't value abortion, but when Biden's on the ballot, are they going to be thinking about abortion? And as much as they are if they're voting for governor, because that's a state issue. I mean, it's going to affect Republicans a lot more at the state level, which it did in the midterms. You saw that with what's going on what happened in Michigan, Pennsylvania. I mean, Mastriano didn't have any money, but the money that was used by Shapiro was framing Mastriano as somebody who wanted to, punish women or throw them in jail if they got an abortion or whatever. And is it disingenuous? Yeah, a little bit, but they're going to use it. And we need to play dirty too on certain things, but the border, that's a big issue. The economy is worse than it was in 2016 when Trump won, for one. For two, the border is in utter shambles compared to 2020 or 2016. Obviously, we know that. So yeah, we have a lot of issues on our hands, a lot of issues. Let's see. Christopher Laurie says, just watch. They will do everything they accuse us of doing in 2020, but they'll say it to protect my democracy. So true. Two-Wheel Lunatic says, is it true Nikki sucks a mean expletive? I heard she's an adulterous witch. Well, I mean, allegedly, there are reports that she would have sexual intercourse with lobbyists in the back of a Cadillac SRX. Remember, the original narrative was Escalade, but the guy that was accusing, or the guy that was also brought up in it, said it was an SRX, which is funny because it's like the dollar store edition of the Cadillac Escalade. But yeah, it's like, no, all the people that say, oh, Trump isn't a real conservative because he cheated on his wife or whatever, these are the same people that will support Nikki Haley and just gloss over that fact, which is what I'm telling people. The personality thing is a very big hypocritical thing, and a lot of people just don't care about it because I don't even know if that the personality is really what they're voting on, or if they're just A, NPCs, or B, they just genuinely despise this country, because that's what's going on at the border right now. They hate this country. They hate this country. They're also mad that Tucker Carlson's interviewing Putin. But Putin's not the one opening our border. All right, I'm not saying Putin has our best interest in mind, because I don't believe he does. He's somebody who is, obviously going to support Russia first. I believe he wants to take advantage of this country, just like a lot of other leaders do. But still, like, the Russia derangement syndrome is incompatible with reality when you look at the fact that our own leaders genuinely despise this country. They genuinely hate it. They leave our border open. Why? You think it's because they you think it's because they want to benefit or enrich our country by allowing it to get invaded by a new Montana every few months worth of population? No, it's not. It's because they genuinely don't care about this country, and in many cases, they despise this country. They do. They want to see it go down the drain just because, it benefits their deep pockets. It benefits their ability to get money from these mega donors who want to see cheap labor pour across the border. They don't care if communities are struggling. They don't care what happens to the people in the middle of, Youngstown, Ohio, or Sterling Heights, Michigan, or West Bend, Wisconsin. They don't care. They don't care at all. It's very clear that they don't. And the fact that they're trying to blame Trump for the border crisis, despite the fact that Trump's policy was the only thing preventing it, it's just, I have no words for it, because it's the most ridiculous thing I've heard all week. So, Big Boy Berg says, John 16:16, Jesus went on to say, in a little while you will see me no more, and then after a little while you will see me. Never forget that God wins in the end. Prayer is the most powerful tool. This is very true. I think another good verse is, Romans 8:31, is it? Basically saying, if God is with us, who can be against us? That's another good one. But thank you for the super chat, Big Boy Berg, for the 20. Deviant Rider says, I wonder if Nikki will lose to none of the above tonight. Well, I don't know if we're going to see any results tonight. They said we get results 17 minutes ago. We have no results out of, I think, either side. No votes in either party's primary. Deviant Rider also says all Trump voters were told to vote for none of the above. I wonder if you can vote in both this and the caucus. That's what I wonder. I don't know if that's true or not, but that would make sense if none of the above won, if that was true. Bathtub Pace says, hey, you're not going to believe this, but Bill Maher is giving away the solution to all of our problems for free. What do you mean by that? What do you mean? I don't get it. But thanks for the super chat, I guess. Some people say you can vote in both, because I know in South Carolina you can't vote in both primaries for both parties. I know you can't probably do that in Nevada either. But the caucus and primary are different. Some people are saying you can vote in both. For formal reasons, consult the Secretary of State website before you try to do something like that. I don't want to have any responsibility. But if you can, hypothetically, then I would anticipate none of these options to beat Haley. And maybe she if turnout's low enough, she edges that out. But I don't know if she's going to be able to. We'll see if we get the results in, because Nevada, and they're going to do the same thing in the general. They will. I mean, how many hours is it going to take? Like, I'm optimistic that we're going to get a count in Wisconsin. We'll get all the results on election night. Pennsylvania maybe, or get close to that. Michigan, North Carolina, and obviously Florida, I think Georgia, Texas. Those states are going to count fast. The southwestern 2 swing states, they could dictate the outcome of the election, and it could take several days. I'm just warning people. Like, there's no meaningful changes to the Arizona election counting system. You're looking at what's going on. Doug Ducey sat on his ass for 2 years. He didn't do anything. And they're not going to get anything done now, for sure. Doomsday Machine says, on behalf of Nathaniel, why isn't Trump on the ballot? Because he's in the caucus, which counts. This does not count, but for some reason, Haley went, in four. She decided to forgo the caucus that counts and entered the primary that doesn't count, where Trump's not on the ballot, because she's a bird brain. That's why. That's her nickname, bird brain. So that's why on the screen in the lower third, I said useless primary. Now, the Democrat side counts in full. Biden is going to win by a massive margin. I don't even think Dean Phillips is on the ballot. But still, it's like, we have no results in. I don't know if we're going to get any in tonight whatsoever. But we'll keep watching we'll watch the live chat. But just remember, guys, 5 years on this channel. 5 years ago today, I posted my first video, and it got, I think, 100,000 views in the first couple of months or so. And, I kept posting, and all the videos kept doing well, and we rode that wave all the way to 100K and beyond. And right now, we're sitting at 163,000 subscribers, which is absolutely huge. Never thought I would have really gotten that far when I first started, but now we got our eyes set on a very much, much larger prize. But we're looking at this. Ronna McDaniel's gone. The border, Biden is grandstanding about the border in a way that is making him look like a complete fool. And that's that. Republicans caving again on impeaching the most unpopular member of any administration in recent memory when they have a clear ability to do so, for complete and total neglect and incompetence, but they're not doing it. It's ridiculous. So, a lot of people in chat are saying that these are the results and that nobody voted. I mean, basically, that's not entirely inaccurate. Killer Fuzz says, primary's a distraction. They'll say, look, Haley won. Yeah, I know. That's the best case scenario, but there's a very good chance she loses to the none of the above option, which would be hilarious. Andrew M. says, how is Joe Lombardo doing as governor? He's a mixed bag, probably closer to the side of Rhino more than he needs to be for Nevada too, which I'm not a really big fan of. I think that overall, it's good that Nevada has a Republican governor, but still there have been plenty of bills he's caved on and things like that. I wouldn't say he's our best swing state governor, but I also would probably say that it's a good thing that he's supporting Trump and he's being a team player, and he is popular. I will say he is popular, so if he helps Trump out in the election, I'm not going to say Trump should reject his help, because you would like to have as much help as you possibly could get. And that goes for anybody. Obviously, you wouldn't want Nikki Haley to be a campaign surrogate because, first of all, she's despised, and second of all, she's somebody who is a complete and total backstabber, and hopefully she stays as far away from Trump as possible. But, if she gives him a nominal endorsement, I'm not going to say, he has to reject an endorsement, unless the endorsement's just a serious liability, which I don't believe that there's really any serious endorsement that would be. And I wouldn't say that it would play that much of a role either way. Carter W. says, thoughts on who will replace Ronna? I think it will be Whatley from North Carolina, who runs a very competent RNC down there. But apparently Matt Gaetz is screwing around with talking about Kevin McCarthy, which I don't even understand how the hell he seriously believes that. I hope it's a sick joke. It's a high effort sick joke if it's true. But like, seriously, this is the guy that ended his career. Why are you trying to resurrect it? It could be a sarcastic endorsement, but like, no, absolutely not. There's zero serious chance that like would happen. I hope he clarifies it. I don't know if he has clarified it, but let's see. M says Lombardo would be better if he had a cooperative legislature. Dems are one state Senate away from having a veto-proof majority. And I get that. I get there's nuance about it. You know, there's only so much he can do. But if he gets a sizable chunk of the legislature in the next election, for example, let's say Republicans make gains and he's still behaving the same way, then you don't really get to use that as an excuse. Like, I get Nevada's not a super conservative state, even among some of the more Republicans there. You know, they have more of a libertarian streak to them. A lot of these voters do, especially on social issues. But, I mean, still rejecting a bill, I think, to something about a bill that would, or signing into law a bill that protects like the ability for minors to cut off their genitals per se and transition into another sex. Like, there's no excuse for him to be on the wrong side of that battle, especially when that's not a popular position overall to have. It's not a popular position to say that, oh, well, we need to ensure that children have the ability without their parents' consent to go out there and mutilate their genitals. It's ridiculous. It's disgusting. It's severely an issue. Let's see. Gates is trying to own McCarthy. Gates is joking. When he found out Kevin was quitting, he tweeted McLeaving. I mean, I don't know. Like, that is true. He doesn't like McCarthy, but why is he saying he should be in that position? Maybe it's a high-effort joke. It's a high-effort troll. But I'd like to see some clarification. Is this 3D, 4D chess? Does he know McCarthy's going for it? And if he supports McCarthy, they'd back off? I don't know what the end game is. I'd like to believe that Gates has the good intentions here, but we just have really yet to see that. Just like we have yet to see any results out of the primary in the state of Nevada. What is going on? They said we would get results around 11 Eastern. It's currently 11:27. Do we have any updates on Twitter about Nevada? Did they say that they're not going to release results tonight? Because if that's the case, then we don't exactly really have any reason to continue all night long. But still, it's what's exactly going on? What's going on? I don't know. We don't have any results. I mean, usually you don't, but who knows? Would absolutely love to see none of these candidates win in the none of these candidates option in Nevada, which honestly, that's going to be interesting come presidential time, because you could very well get a lot of people that vote none of the above in the general. I'm anticipating that would help out Trump, because Trump has a higher favorable rating than Biden right now, but you have a lot of people who are on the fence and don't like either. Just like 2016. This election is a lot more 2016 than it is 2020, but also Trump is in a better position overall to go out there and win than he was even back in 2016. The record is on Trump's side. The numbers as a whole are on Trump's side. So there's obviously a chance he falls short, and a lot can change between now and then, but he's the clear favorite. He's the favorite more so than he's been his entire career. There's not a single argument that I hear from these people that makes sense. Even the whole conviction argument's falling apart in a lot of recent polling. So, yeah, I think Trump's the favorite. Now, a lot can things can change, but what exactly could change at this point that would cause that to change? I don't know. We'll see, obviously, when it happens. But we have, I think, less than, isn't it November 5th? we have 9 months, less than 9 months before Election Day. Less than 9. I mean, 9 months ago was June-ish, or like the summer. So just think about that. Keep that in perspective. Like, we're knocking on the door more so than we were. Under 9 months to go. 8 months and change before this election takes place. That is absolute insanity that we're that close. And Trump is still leading the poll. Now, a lot can change, like I said, and he's got a lot of work to do, and we have a lot of work to do. This isn't a call for complacency. But still, he's in a very, very, very good position to go out there and take this thing, more so than he's been in years past, for sure. So let's see. I don't think we have any more super chats, but if you guys want to send them in, feel free to do so. Keep in mind, this is the 5th year channelversary. I uploaded my first video February 6, 2019. Think about that. February of 2019, and now it is currently February of 2024. And Trump is still running for president, except this time he's in a much better position. So, been going for a very long time here. And I don't know what's going to happen. 5 years from now, is the channel still going to exist in 2029? Well, so long as we are still on the air, then I guess it will exist. I don't know if I'll be uploading as frequently 5 years from now, but you never know. That'd be after the 2028 election. Think about that. We're closer to 2030 than we are 2018. So that's insane. Not trying to make some of you people feel old, because, I mean, it's true. But it's been a long time. It really has. So all right, I'll look at regular chat just because we don't have any new updates. There's nothing to talk about. I'll keep going. I don't know if we're going to get any more results. I just know the second we end the stream, they're going to dump in all the votes. That's going to happen regardless, because that's how it happens in many streams that we've done. A lot of primaries and etc. Let's see. We're waiting. A lot of people are saying that they're not giving results until they redacted the votes. I don't know what their motivation would be, because we know that the results are going to be for Biden, and this primary doesn't matter. The only motivation I could maybe think of is getting Haley over the none of these candidates thing for like an optics thing, but I don't even think that's going to happen. But even if it does, it doesn't matter. It just proves how pathetic these people are. Nikki Haley gets ratioed every single tweet she posts. She's a clown. She's despised. And I'm so glad I was ahead of the curve, because some people were like 5 years ago saying, oh, Haley might run after Trump. And it's like, no, I was always saying that's a disaster waiting to happen. She's a neocon. She's a disaster. And people disagreed with me at the time. And it's like, I told you so. I feel like I've been ahead of the curve on a lot of people. I mean, even Ron DeSantis, I said back in 2021, if he gets to the national spotlight, he could completely bust, because he does not have the national record, because he does not have the charisma. He's not ready for prime time. And a lot of people were mad at me when I said that, but I was right. I was completely right. So let's see. Naranal MD says, congrats on 5 years. Orthodox Christian here. It's great to have someone on YouTube with similar views. I enjoy your analysis. Well, thank you. Thank you for the super chat. John Waffle H2P says, would Alabama still go for Omar in 2024? Well, that was a joke. That was a long time ago. That was when the Alabama jokes were pretty funny. But I remember I made a meme. Back in the day. I put it on YouTube on my second channel. Biden wins Alabama, and he wins because he did this thing where he would go and he would like answer questions for Google. It's like the thing where they peel off the questions and he answers them. And like, it was like, does Joe Biden have a brother? And he's like, yeah, I got 2 brothers and I got a sister who's the love of my life, which is like, okay, you know, it's a Biden moment. And then like the meme cut to, we can now project Joe Biden as won Alabama, like from the primary results, of course. And I see that meme everywhere that I made. I don't know if other people made the same meme because it was an original idea when I made it. But I see that meme everywhere. Instagram is getting like 2 million likes. And I'm like, seriously, he just straight ripped off my meme. I should have put a watermark in it or something. But yeah, every time Biden opens his mouth, it's something ridiculous. And yeah, they're going to try to run the midterm strategy in 2024. I don't believe it's going to work out for them. Their turnout in the midterms wasn't even that good, for one. For two, Biden was not on the ballot. Democrats ran from Biden. Trump is a stronger candidate than a lot of people give him credit for. Whether they think the people that are like the MAGA type of candidates are that strong or not, Donald Trump is not them. He's Trump. That's what people need to understand. So, yeah, we remember, what was that? Somebody put it in chat, true and perverser or something. Yeah, true and national depressure. It's like he just talks nonsense. He said this. He said a similar thing a couple weeks ago, and every time the guy leaves the stage, he wanders around. He doesn't know where he is. He doesn't know what's going on. The same media will get mad at Trump because Trump said Sioux City instead of Sioux Falls, or vice versa. See, I don't even know. When half the residents of that town do the same exact thing and they're right next to each other. It's like, yeah, if Biden did it, maybe we would look at it a little differently. But, you know, Trump has always made some gaffes. He called 9/11 7/11. That was kind of funny. He called Tim Cook Tim Apple, even though you could argue that he was referencing the fact that he was Tim from Apple because he's their CEO. But, yeah, it's just like, no, Biden's different. Biden is severely in mental decline. I don't even buy the age rumor or the age thing where people are like, oh, well, Trump is too old too. Biden's too old. Trump is with it. If you're old but you're with it and you get it and you have good policy, I'm not going to say you can't be qualified to be president. Biden is none of those things, and he's mentally in just complete and total shambles. So, you know, look at that and take it or leave it. So, we have no results. Some people said that their results are in Decision Desk. So we can go directly to Decision Desk and we can see what's going on. And I could put that up on the screen here. And we have results, 17% reporting. Joe Biden is in the 80s. That's not as good as South Carolina. He's in the 80s in Washoe County. But only 17,000 total votes so far. Not a lot. And Nikki Haley's losing to the none of these candidates option. None of these candidates is winning. We have results. I'm so glad we didn't end the stream. We have results. And Nikki Haley is losing to none of these candidates. She is down. She's losing to zero. She's losing to people. She's losing to none of the above. It's not like it matters. But seriously, she is that down bad. And this primary doesn't matter, but the Democrat primary does. And they're not really running that much ahead in terms of total votes. I will say that. I mean, I'm not saying that Biden's percentage, because the percentage doesn't matter. He's going up against Crazy Crystal Lady, a bunch of other people that I've never heard of in my life. I probably am more relevant than all these people combined on steroids. But still, I mean, Tim Scott got 1%. Wonder if that just comes from the fact that he supports Trump. The other Donald only has 0.1% of the vote. So, yep. We have one county in. One county is in. And that's that. So, yep. All right. We have results. And it's not like it matters Because it's, like I said, it's just a non-binding primary. But for Haley to lose to none of these candidates is hilarious in a low turnout election. Jeremy G says, what do you think about Jim Harbaugh now coaching the Chargers? Well, I never liked Jim Harbaugh, so I don't really care. It's probably a good fit for him because he might have faced suspension if he were to stay at Michigan, and he gets to go to a team that has a decent ability to win some games. I will say that for him, but other than that, I just don't care that much about it. So yeah, I know Harbaugh is pro-life, but it does. A lot of people are, okay. A lot of people are. I'm not a fan of him just because of that. I will say that. Just like I'm not a fan of Aaron Rodgers just because he trashed the vaccine and he trashed Pfizer and all this stuff. It's not enough to. I'll praise that thing. It's like that's good. Harbaugh having that position is a good thing. I'm not going to knock it, but other than that, his entire record, not just as a coach, as a football thing, but he's just a dickhead. So the guy shoved the Lions coach back in 2011 when he went to shake his hand after a game that Harbaugh won. So it's much deeper than that too. Nyron Alm says, appellate court decision today was predictable / copium. I hope Dems remain deluded to keep a neurologically compromised plagiarist as a candidate. True. Jeremy G says, Lex Luthor for president. Carl Bruss says, do you think the Cowboys should fire Mike McCarthy? DC4L. I think that, they shouldn't because I enjoy them losing. I mean, it's possible that if they got a better coach in there, they'd start to improve. But, I mean, is he the only problem? No. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. So a lot of this will come down to Clark County if Haley does for sure lose. When those votes get reported, then we'll know for sure. I don't know when they're going to get reported. We'll probably go for another 20 minutes or so just because we have results. But if you guys want to keep me going, I'd encourage to send super chat so we can get the conversation going. But in the meantime, I will look in. I'll look in regular chat. Yeah, none of these candidates is better than Nikki Haley. That's true. I mean, that's literally what's going on right now. That's what the voters of Nevada are saying. I mean, she's only got 4,000. Like, does she end up with 50,000 votes statewide? Is the primary going to have more votes than we thought? I mean, a lot of these votes are by mail, too. Like, the turnout in Election Day was, like, less than 10,000, which is why we need to encourage people to vote early. If they can vote early, vote early. Don't wait until Election Day. A lot of our base, they work. They work. You talk about having a party that is catering to the, working class or whatever. A lot of these people are going to be working on Election Day. They may not want to, go stand in a line forever so they could sit out there and vote. You got to get people voting early. You vote early, you want to vote in person, don't like the mail system or drop off the ballot, that's fine. I'd prefer that personally. That's how a lot of Republicans vote in a place like Florida. But still, where there's early voting and you can vote early and you don't, you're doing a disservice overall. So let's see. Eunice EK Moto with $50. Thank you, Eunice. Big thanks for the support. BCL Productions says, could Ramaswamy be a frontrunner in 2028? It's entirely possible that he could be. It depends who else runs. But he's definitely, if he runs for president, he's got a very sizable core base out of the bat, and he's not likely going to have to deal with somebody like Trump on the ticket, sucking energy out of the room in a primary, even if he's not technically in the debate room. Masked Angel says, happy 5-year anniversary. Well, thank you. Been here since January of 2020. I think the bigger gift for you tonight is R.I.P. Bozo McDaniel. Maybe my inbox won't be spammed anymore. Who thought that was a good idea? Well, yeah, I mean, I agree, As big as it was to have a to have a celebration moment where, you know, we celebrate the 5 years. I think that the number one takeaway has to be the McDaniel stuff. She's gone. I mean, I'd give that away for celebrating the anniversary any day of the week because that's huge. Brooke for 10 says none of the above for the win. I agree. None of the above is currently in the lead, and Nikki Haley is down there. It's not like Trump's on the ballot, you know. It's not like the primary even matters. Haley put all of her time and energy into this. Did it matter? Nope. Probably not. You know, they're still counting votes, but I'm going to guess that the votes in the rural areas or less populated areas are going to come in heavily against Haley. And even in Clark County, I would anticipate Haley to probably fall below none of these candidates, given how she's fallen behind them in Reno, which is probably one of the more, like, I guess you would say, rhino-friendly parts of the state. And somebody can correct me if they think I'm wrong on that, but, I mean, it just seems to be that way. So, yeah. Let's see. Reload the page. Are there more votes on decision desk? Doesn't seem like there are. The Dem primary. This primary actually counts for the Democrats. Biden's going to win it by a sizable margin, but watch the total reported data. That's what matters. That's what makes the difference in the world. What number is he going to clear? And I wouldn't compare it to the Republican primary or the Republican caucus, because a lot of people aren't going to vote in this primary that doesn't matter on the Republican side, and caucuses also tend to have lower turnout. When you get to the primary comparisons, we're probably not going to have like enough data until maybe after South Carolina, maybe Super Tuesday, where we can look at it and we can pinpoint it as, okay, either Biden's in trouble or he's hitting his benchmarks for turnout or whatever. We'll see. But yeah, we're waiting on results. Like I said, 15 minutes. We'll go for 15 more minutes. But news recap, Biden's blaming Trump for the border, making a fool of himself. GOP will not impeach Mayorkas, or however you pronounce his name. And on top of that, Donald Trump maintains his position, great position of victory right now. And Ronna McDaniel is gone, stepping down from the RNC after the South Carolina primary. We'll see who replaces her, but this is absolutely huge news for the Republican Party in a very, very good way. And then the Nevada primary, which it takes 50 years to count the ballots on, but it doesn't matter for the Republicans. The caucus is what counts, but it's funny seeing Nikki Haley fall behind the none of these candidates option. Absolutely hilarious. Just ridiculous. So, let's see. Any other, let's look at regular chat. Well, the Democrat primary does matter because it's binding. You know, Biden gets the delegates. Obviously, he's going to win. He's not facing any serious opposition this time around. RFK Jr. dropped out to run as an independent. Dean Phillips is not on the ballot. None of these candidates is getting a higher share than I think both of his opponents in South Carolina combined did. So there's that. We'll see what the final margin is at the end of the day, but we're probably not going to get results in for quite some time, if I had to guess. But either way, it's a very, very bad night for Nikki Haley, because she opted to do this instead, this charade that doesn't count, for like an optics thing. And even then, she fell behind none of the above, probably loses to none of the above when all the votes are counted. I mean, folks, this is absolutely embarrassing for her. She's embarrassing herself even more than she already was. So there's that. Let's see. How would the 2028 election be if it's Vivek versus Gavin Newsom? I don't know. It would depend who wins in 2024, what the state of the economy is like. It would depend on what kind of campaign that they both run. I think it depends on a lot of things, for sure. And yeah, Nevada, the caucus is in 2 days, so we'll stream that even though Trump's going to win 100% of the vote. We'll take calls from you guys in the Discord, which you can join by becoming a member on the website, which is not the membership on YouTube, but you could join that to get the badge. You can get, I think there's some streams that are archived just for members as well, which may be the move going forward here, depending on certain streams. But let's see, anything else going on? It doesn't seem like we have any more results. So we have 10 minutes. They better put in more results in 10 minutes or I'm not going to be streaming the rest of the night, because you know it's going to take them 50 years to put the ballots in. I'm sorry. But that's the way it is. We've been going, it took them, 90 minutes plus just to get, just to get those votes in. And we have, 13% in? Cesar Hurtado says herpes may be more popular than Haley. Well, which one goes away first is the real question. Because, Haley is no shot at victory. She's staying around. It's only to weaken Trump. The one video, I did a video on it, did very well. Got 100, it hit the 100K view threshold. It's in the 100K club. And it's true, because she wants to weaken Trump. And the donors that are funding her to do so, they're Democrat donors. She's getting funded by Democrats. She's not getting funded by Republicans. So, yeah, I don't know. The vote totals are the percentages are a little off. They're still calculating. They don't know how many votes are there. But Haley, not doing too well. I can guarantee you that much. So this is a win for Trump, and he's not even there, just like the debates. It's funny because if Vivek was on the ballot, he probably he would come close. He would come close to winning. So, yep. Anyways, guys, make sure you like the stream. Let's get to 2,000 likes at least. 2,000 likes. Can we hit 2,000 likes? We have 1,700 likes. Let's hit 2,000 likes. Subscribe to the channel if you are not yet subscribed. I would encourage you guys to do so. We're getting closer and closer to 164K. We'll probably hit it by the end of the week. We want to get close. We want to get to 166K by the end of the month. I think we'll get it sooner than that though, so we'll see. Anyways, no new votes in at all. We're waiting. It's going to be election day already. Dova Budgie 100 says Jonathan Testicles is literally beating Nikki. Yeah. I would say that's like a gotcha, but it's true. None of these candidates can be anybody. It could be literally anybody. And Haley is in such an awful position. She's losing to nobody. They'd rather have nobody than Haley. This is your Republican primary without Trump. With a lot of Trump's voters not even voting, nobody still wins. Nobody still clears Haley. Haley might not even get 40 when it's all said and done, because this is early vote in probably one of her stronger counties. I don't think that Clark's going to come in this strong for her. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. But it's embarrassing. It's just embarrassing. Ronnie J says, you open to Ron Paul type Republicans? Depends. I'm open to it. I'm not exactly that much of a libertarian overall, but I think people like Ron Paul on foreign policy, immigration, they're very solid on certain things. They're more of like the paleo libertarian types, but I just feel like, do they really have that like national conservative worldview? I don't really know. I'm sure some of them do, but all of them not necessarily. But depends. Like Ron Paul and then everybody else running on the Republican side this election cycle, besides maybe Vivek, yeah, I'm gonna go for Ron Paul. I would have voted for Ron Paul in the 2012 Republican primary, but the donor class just pretended like he didn't exist. SJ says, I suppose Tricky Nikki can claim that nobody beats Nikki Haley. Yeah, well, nobody literally beat Haley, though. That's the funny part about it. Like, and I get that that's the joke, but we have more votes in. Oh, wait a minute. None of these candidates with a massive 62-31 margin of victory in Clark County. Unbelievable. Half the votes are in, and none of these candidates expands their lead. Haley, again, see, right as we're about to go, which maybe will stay a little bit longer if they're going to actually put the votes in. But look at this. And on the Democrat side, we have 83,000 votes total. Biden's got 90% in total. But you're looking at this here. Another county just dropped, and none of these candidates hit 60. Haley is getting a third of the vote, despite being the only candidate that's in this race that's on this ballot. She is completely collapsing. And when it's all said and done, that might decrease even further because none of these candidates is getting in the 70s in some of these counties. Unbelievable. Trains29 says thoughts on the DNC replacing Biden with Michelle Obama at the convention. I can't see them not doing something with the situation they are in. I get the theory, but I think it's getting a little bit too late for that. We hear these theories every election cycle. They don't usually come into fruition. So unless we have any other evidence that shows that they are moving to replace him, that's one thing. But I mean, how many times has Michelle Obama said, I'm not going to run for office? It's been way too many. If they replace him, it's probably going to be with Kamala Harris. I don't even think it would be with Newsom because the optics of that wouldn't be good. Because you have to get inside like the Democrats' woke brain and you have to say, wait a minute, why are they replacing the natural successor with some straight white male or whatever? Like, I think that Newsom would kind of, maybe he'd be the VP, but I mean, they're both from California. Maybe she would change her residency because she easily could do that. Because when Newsom's asked about the potential to run in 2024, what has he always said? He's like, if they replace Biden, it would defer to Harris. But he's not saying it wouldn't happen. Maybe that's the plan. I don't know. I just don't think they're going to replace Biden. I don't believe it. I think it would have happened by now. But man, Haley not even getting a third of the vote. I mean, seriously, turnout's down. It's going to be low. Obviously, we know that. Turnout on the Democrat side is not super high either. I mean, statewide, Clark, Biden's got 57,000 votes in Clark. Like, is their turnout higher than maybe the caucus in 2020? Yeah, but a caucus is a caucus. You can't compare the two. You can't compare the two at all. Like, how many votes did they get? How many votes were tallied in the caucus? Like over 100,000 or something? Yeah, 104,000 votes were tallied in the caucus. So Democrats probably beat that, but barely beating that in a primary is not really a good sign for the enthusiasm of Biden, regardless of however you want to sit back here and chalk it up. But half the votes are in. Republicans probably going to tap out at like 80-some thousand if these totals are correct. But Haley, yeah, you could project the winner. We could project the winner. We have a breaking news alert. The Red Eagle Politics Decision Desk projects that nobody wins the Nevada Republican primary because nobody has officially beaten Nikki Haley. And that's true. So that's the projection of the night. Haley lost to literally nobody. Literally nobody literally nobody beat Haley. They would rather have it be empty than have her. Because, like, if this was DeSantis, you would feel like he would at least, like, sort of come close to getting on top of this, right? But Haley couldn't even do that. Brutal. Including Vegas. That means Trump is doing well in Vegas compared to a lot of these other, counties. That's good because Vegas is a big metro area that you need to go out there and win. You need it. I mean, there's not any real Democrat votes in a lot of these places. It's interesting to see some of these smaller counties where there's less Democrats and you see more people like that are voting for the none of these candidates option. You do love to see it there. Romans 5:8 Gospel and Theology says add none of these candidates to all federal elections. Well, they are in Nevada. I'm not opposed to doing it nationwide. Let's see. Cesar Hurtado says, can we appreciate how much base actually has a sense of humor? Tonight is another South Park episode. Check out White House Senior Living Trump promo. Thank you for the super chat. So, yeah, I mean, we're waiting on more votes to come in, but it's currently 11. We're going to end the stream in like 3 minutes if we don't get any more votes. So we want to hit 2,000 likes. Like the stream. We're knocking on the door. We should be able to hit 2,000. And make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. It's very important so you can keep up to date on what's going on. Keep up to date on the content. You know, I get so many comments from people, I don't watch Fox News. I don't watch, these major networks. Why would you when you get just straight from the source, like just facts on a daily basis at Red Eagle Politics? 5 years. 5 years this channel's been in existence. Here's to another 5 more, hopefully. And hopefully we can actually see a major election win in this channel's lifetime that you could look at and say, okay, we went out there and we won. Obviously, we had Virginia. Some results that we saw in special elections were not bad, that we know, but a presidential election fully going our way, or a midterm election fully going our way, still haven't quite seen it. But now we get new leadership for the first time in Rep channel history at the RNC. Hopefully that's going to carry more and more Republicans to victory. Hopefully. We'll have to see. But a lot needs to change. A lot needs to change. Sir Thinks a Lot says, just getting in here, why isn't Trump on the ballot? Because he opted to do the caucus, which actually counts. This doesn't count. Haley is a bird brain, so she did this instead and lost to literally none of the above. Earl Lyle says, congrats on the 5-year anniversary. Well, thank you. And thank everybody. I thank everyone who tuned in, everybody who donated tonight. Really appreciate it. 5 years, and hopefully we get 5 more. So let's see, 1963. Like up the stream. Like the stream. We're almost there. We have 1,800 people. There's definitely got to be 35, 36 people who haven't liked the stream yet. So like the stream for sure. Nikki Haley lost to literally the none of these candidates option tonight, which that's a win. That's a win. Any L that Nikki Haley takes is a massive win. But we need to cross the threshold. We're 11 likes away. We're 11 likes away. Do we have any more results? Nope. No new results. It does only show 48% in here compared to the 58% in here, but it's the same tallies. They're just waiting on calculating how many ballots are left, but it's not going to make a difference because Nikki Haley has gone down, folks. She's gone down just like RONNA. It's over. Let's see. M says, if I recall correctly, none of the above actually can't win the Nevada primary. The candidate who receives the most votes will be granted the win. Still a moral. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's a moral victory. She lost to the none of these candidates option. That's the way it is. And I don't know, is that entirely true? Because I thought it just literally just went to nobody. I could be wrong, but they didn't project Haley when Haley is the clear winner if what you're saying is true. So I don't know. On Point Politics says, this deserves another super chat. This is the funniest thing ever. I'm laughing so hard right now. Wow, man, incredible. I mean, I'm with you. Like, this is insane. And we hit 2,000 likes. Still like the stream if you haven't yet, by the way. We will be going in about a minute. Mr. Napoleon says, it would be funny to see Trump on the primary debate stage with him in an empty podium. Yeah, I mean, Haley wants to debate him though, so I don't know if that's entirely going to happen. Now, Biden, will he debate Trump? That's another question. But saying, oh, well, Trump didn't debate in the primary, so that's precedence. Like, no, he was not really contested, seriously. And neither was Biden. Biden didn't debate these people. So what difference really does it make? Like, maybe he could have gone to one debate. Not a lot would have changed. But he won overwhelmingly. Like, Hillary never debated Bernie in May of 2016 when she was leading by much less than what Trump was leading by over him. So whatever. She didn't even want to debate him in April, but eventually she caved. So half the vote is in, and Nikki Haley is at 33.4%, the none of the above option, the clear winner of the night. But anyways, guys, I think we're going to end it. It's been real. Like the stream before you go. Subscribe. Hit the bell. Follow me on social media. The links are all in the description down below. And I will see you guys in a video tomorrow. It's been great. Red Eagle out.